When taking on a picture like this, it kind of becomes a struggle for me because when you really step back and look at this picture, it's loaded with detail, but at the end of the day, you're really looking at just three things: hearts, leaves, and flowers. And that's what I was sitting down to work with. So the very first thing I wanted to do is get the colors I knew that I wanted for sure out the way. In this case was the yellow centers of the flowers and then the greens. And because I know I'm working with a lot of greens, I don't want that to become flat. So what you're seeing me do here is I'm rotating back and forth between three greens. Essentially my base green, which is kind of like that grass green you're seeing, a dark green, which is like a deep pine, like a dark pine, and then almost a neon or like a lime green. And this is going to help pop the images out. Like the heart, you could see it's kind of popped out right here because of that deep pine green is punching it forward. The lime green, what that's going to also do is give the leaves a lot of depth, so they're not going to be flat. Something I knew I was going to have fun with was the hearts. I enjoy, coloring hearts or circles or anything that lets you catch that glare on it, and you could have a lot of fun when doing hearts like this. So my big question was, what color are they going to be? I knew for a fact I wanted some to be red, and in fact I thought at one point all of them were going to be red. So because of that, I started off with one. I wanted to see how it looked, and I was going to move from there. But when it was all said and done, I ended up going with red and pink. I think both of those worked really well together as a whole. Something you might notice here is I'm doing darks to lights, and I know everything we've been taught says you always do lights and then you work your way up to darks. When I do this, it's because I put down the lights first, so when my darker pencil hits the page, most of the tooth of the page has already been taken up by the lights, so I'm not going to get too dark. But in this case with these hearts, I know for a fact I want the edges, the outside of the hearts, to show a lot of depth. I want them to be very, very deep, very, a very rich, deep, dark red. So I don't want to put any lights right there. So I go right into it by making the outside of my heart a very dark, dark red. Then on top of that, I put my light red. And then right by my source of light, I'll usually do a pink. And that's mainly so the other reds don't push their way into areas I don't want them to be. And when that's all done, I blend all three of those reds together, and it usually has a really nice, vibrant look, which is one of the reasons I really like doing hearts and shapes like this. I just want to point out, I'm really glad I ended up going with a pink and red as opposed to just red hearts. There's something about those two colors right next to each other, because you can see here it's kind of a hot, like a hot pink, maybe mixed with a little purple. But there's something about it that really broke up the redundancy of just having the red. I was just really happy with it, so I'm glad I took that chance. You will never see me using gold or a metallic color to actually make a metallic color. So here to make the gold, what I'm using is, and I almost do it the same every time I'm messing around with gold. I'll use a yellow, whether it be a canary yellow, just some kind of a true yellow. Then for my darker spots, I go with like a light umber or a light brown. And when that mixes in with the yellow, it just gives the illusion of a darker yellow. You don't really even see the brown anymore. It has that dark gold look to it, which I really like. And then I'll try to leave as many highlights as I can. And those I usually touch up with a white or a lemon yellow or something really close to white. So by the time you're done blending all that together, it just gives a really nice golden look. Okay, so this part, why I went with purple is because in my head I wanted red and purple hearts, and I didn't do that. I went with the pink, which I'm glad I went with the pink, but I still had in my head the use of purple in this image. So I colored everything I knew that was going to be a leaf. I went ahead and did that in the greens. And all this other floral stuff, I said, you know what, I'm just going to make all of that the same purple. So I did it the same way I did the leaves. I start off with a dark purple, and that pushes, the front end of it behind the leaves by giving it that depth. Then I used a base color purple, and then finally like a neon or a light purple to give the leaves themselves some depth. And what this does is it ties the whole page together in unity. So where I have all this, the purple floral and all the green leaves done in the same color pattern, once you stand back and look at it as a whole, it now all feels like it belongs together.
Sugah-Share.